the kind you wear it tight. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Joining me tonight, we got Devin.
Hi, I'm here. It is I, Devin.
And we got Rob.
Hi, I am also here. It is I, Rob.
I don't know what's happening right now.
What do you mean?
But sure. Yeah, you guys are all talking Rob's talking all funny. He mimicked you. You didn't catch that? I caught that.
I mean, that's not
Listeners
my problem.
caught that.
Who's this, Rob?
All right. Insert loud fart noises here. And then giggles. This week, Devin had asked me if I had seen a movie, and I hadn't. It came out in 2006.
And I was very surprised.
He was. And with the cast of this movie being what it is, I was very surprised that I hadn't seen this
Also,
movie.
given the fact that this is brought to us by the guy who wrote and produced Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Office Space. Silicon Valley to be more like recent. Yeah, like I was surprised.
Yeah, what is that? That's Judd, right?
Yeah, Mike Judge.
Mike Judge.
Yep.
So this week we're going to be talking about the movie Idiocracy. Now, this movie stars Luke Wilson, co-starring Maya Rudolph, and the next person that you see the most of, I guess, would be Dax Shepard as Frito, the
Frito.
fucked up lawyer. So there's Devin was slightly concerned that we weren't going to have a lot to talk about in this movie because there's a lot in this movie, but there's not really a lot in this movie. I don't know how else to explain it. It's dumb fart jokes constantly.
Let me preface this before you get into this issue. This is a movie of 2006 created by the same guy who created the shows I just named.
Yeah.
Some of the humor is of the time.
Some of the humor's from, you would think would be from a time before that, like the 90s. I watched this movie, and I could have sworn, this should have been a 90s movie. I'm surprised when you say it's 2006, but, I don't know. I feel like the 90s, this would have suited pretty well in the 90s, too.
Yep.
Also, not a movie, if we're going to be talking, because we've mentioned several times how Blazing Saddles is a fantastic fucking movie, but it will never get remade in today's society.
No.
I feel like this is also a movie that will never get remade.
Probably not.
I don't think it's nearly as... Well, I mean, it kind of is. I was going to say, I don't think it's as blatantly...
It's kind of like a more...
offensive as Blazing Saddles.
No, it's not. Think early... I would say not season 1, but I'd say season 3 to 5, Family Guy and Superbad.
Yeah. So anyway, the premise of this movie, Luke Wilson's an army guy. Okay. Really beyond average army dude. Does not excel at anything. Very lazy.
He is statistically average across the board. They pull up a graphic, and he literally is statistically the average human being across the board.
Yeah.
In every possible category, he's just the statistical average.
So they're gonna have him, and then one other person that there wasn't a female in the military who was what they were looking for this.
Basically expendable.
Yeah. So they went and got a hooker.
Which
And
was a very in-depth research process
yeah.
by the creator of this.
Oh, dude, yeah, this guy had like a 38 slide thing of him hanging out with a pimp.
Yep. Upgrade.
So essentially, they're going to get frozen in time in these capsules, and they're supposed to get woken up 1 year later.
Yep.
To see if they can essentially sustain life in a capsule. Which, already off the bat, it's like, so we're testing this to see if this is possible, but it could kill them. Like, they didn't say that it couldn't. Like, what happens if they tried to freeze them and then all of their critical systems, failed? No one even asked about that in this movie.
No, actually, no, she did ask about that. Like, she brought that up.
Yeah, but I think Luke Wilson's just like, yeah, it's the government.
He's like, no, it's good. They tested on dogs and shit. Of course he's good.
Yeah, forgot about that. So they end up going into these cryopod things, and then there's a big explanation as to what happened next. All I remember is Fuddruckers was put into where the military base is.
Well, what happened was that same guy that was in charge of the experiment, who was hanging out with the pimp, got indicted on prostitution and a bunch of other like drug and prostitution charges because he was hanging out with the pimp. It kind of became like a pseudo pimp. Like he was putting in a gold tooth when they raided his office. And then when that happened,
they shut down the facility.
And they kind of forgot about it was a secret project. It wasn't documented anywhere that they were in this fucking. They were in basically these pods, so it kind of got ignored. They turned on the base and they turned into a Fuddrucker.
And the Fuddruckers turned into an ass fuckers.
Into ass fuckers in the future.
Great family friendly thing, and that's not even like the biggest chain
restaurant.
They
were having a kid's birthday party there, so yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's why I say it was family friendly. And that's not ass fuckers. Isn't even the biggest chain. Apparently, the biggest food chain in the future is Carl's Jr. Oh yeah, they have ultimate authority and can even like take your kids. They took that poor woman's kid away. They're like, you do not have enough to pay for this meal. Therefore, you are an unfit mother, and your child.
Well, she tried to buy fries, and she bought fries, and they gave her an empty box, and then she was trying to get her fries back. And then she was trying to get fries, and she's like, that's all the money I had. She started beating in the machine. They're like, we don't take kind of vandalism. And then they fucking like gas her in the face. The machine gas her in the face, and then it's like, clearly you're an unfit mother. We're gonna take your kids.
Your kids are now going to be in the custody of Carl's Jr. Oh my god, this movie was absolutely bonkers. Once they woke up from,
and then the cops come do the vandalism while Luke Wilson is trying to get food out of the machine. They're like, "Is this the unfit mother?"
Yeah. So there's like a big trash avalanche, I guess is what they called it.
That's what wakes them up. It's the
trash avalanche.
The great garbage avalanche of 2505.
Yeah. Yeah, so they woke up 500 years later, not a year, and Luke Wilson ends up crashing into this guy Frito's house, played by Dax Shepard.
Who's sitting on his chair toilet.
He's sitting on a chair toilet, sipping probably Gatorade through a straw.
Eating what looks like a tub of butter.
Yeah, and watching a show about just some guy getting hit in the nuts over and over again.
Yep.
Loving life, by the way.
Yep.
And Luke Wilson's character, what's his name? Joe Bauer or something like that?
Yep, Joe Bauer.
Joe wakes up, starts trying to talk to him, but Frito gets super pissed off from all the interruptions and the fact that he sounds super smart. And then they start going through about how Joe is now, like, he sounds so intelligent that it sounds pompous. And so everyone gives him dirty looks.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up, he thinks there's a problem with the medication that they gave him, so he goes to a hospital. The hospital attendant just has like this picture book of things that could possibly be wrong, and like it's a push button thing.
And it doesn't seem to matter because they all get funneled to the same place of
Yeah.
having to stick a probe in their mouth, in their ear, and up their ass
Yep.
to tell them what's wrong. So he gets over there. The guy gives him the probe, and he's like, "This one goes in your mouth. This one goes in your ear, and this one goes in your butt." And so he puts all the probes in him, and he's standing there, and he hears like a beep, and he's like, "Oh, my bad, I messed up." This one goes, and he's like, starts mixing them up
he's
like
shuffling
this.
them
Goes in your mouth.
Luke Wilson's like looking at it like a shell game. Like he's like, ah, shit, which one is it? And then he goes to drink water from a fountain, and it spits out Gatorade. Which, I'm kind of okay with. It'd be cool if they had water fountains that were, that shot out Gatorade or like High C from Mr. Deeds. Things like that. But then he asked somebody about water.
Can I just say this one thing? Bobby Boucher, not to have a crossover, Bobby Boucher would be very upset at this world.
Yeah, true. Very true. So he asked about where he could find some water, and the first guy he asked is like, what do you mean, like in the toilet? And apparently that's the only place you can find water, is in the toilet. It doesn't rain, apparently. Like, does it not rain here in the future? I don't know if they ever brought that up.
I'm assuming not, because crops don't grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's like
I'm
a big
guessing it's
dust
some
bowl
kind of,
thing.
like, yeah, because everything was a dust storm, so they probably like ruined the environment.
Oh, you fucked up the environment with the mountain high things of trash.
Yeah.
The buildings are just twisty tied together or whatever, bungee corded together.
Yeah, the buildings.
The buildings that are duct taped together.
Highways that just end. So anyway, he sees a doctor finally, starts talking to him. The doctor realizes he doesn't have some tattoo, like a brand that tells everybody who they are. So he starts freaking out. Played by, Justin Long. And eventually Joe Bowers gets arrested for not being able to pay the hospital and to not having a tattoo identification thing. So they go through this process. The guy has like a man catcher on him. He has like one of those dog things around his neck. He's holding him on a pole. And he brings him through. He gets him his ID, which goes wrong, so his name ends up being changed from Joe Bauer to Not Sure. And then they give him an IQ test to try to place him into where he would be for like a job in the prison. And he ends up scoring off the charts because they're ridiculously dumb questions. I gotta clear my throat. Hold on.
Yeah, the first one was like, what if you have a bucket that contains 2 gallons and another bucket that can contain 5 gallons? How many buckets do you have? And he's like, 2? And then they were like trying to put like shapes into different holes.
Yeah, there was only
like,
3.
And he was like looking at them like they're dumb, and they like covered their thing like he was trying to cheat.
Yeah. So then they cut over to the prison. He's now in the prison. He's standing in line for entry, and then there's another line for exit or some shit. And he's like, and the narrator's like, so then Joe improvised the smartest prison break ever in history or some shit. And it just shows him stepping out of line and it's the other line. He's like, I'm supposed to be getting out today. And they all believe him.
The guy slides upside the head like, you're in the wrong line. Go over there.
Yeah. And then the one guy couldn't find him in the computer system. So he's like, oh, check those files. So when he turned around to do it, he just left. So, yeah, needless to say...
From the outside of the building tried to shoot him, and they wound up like shooting
each other. Yeah. So needless to say, everybody in the future, at minimum at least 500 years in the future, dumber than a bag of rocks. Okay? Oh yeah, we skipped over the fact that fucking Dax Shepard's character was his lawyer when they tried him in the court.
Yep.
And the one lawyer who was like opposing him or whatever was like, oh yeah, he didn't pay his thing and he didn't have an ID thing, so he's guilty. And then Dax Shepard's like, I object. They're like, okay, what's your objection? He's like, this guy didn't he broke my apartment. It's like he just added on to all the bad shit.
And they basically like, incited like a small riot.
Yeah.
And then that's when he got sent to jail, and he broke out of jail.
And then he went straight back to Dax. And then I think this is where they started trying to talk about a time machine. And Dax is like, "Oh yeah, I know where there's one."
Yep.
And then most of the movie is them just trying to get to this time machine, which is at a Costco, by the way.
Yep. Asking if the time machine exists, talking in the past. Frito claims there's one, but agrees to only help after Joe makes him the promise of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll give you money. He's like, I like money. And he's like, all right, $10 billion. He's like, well, the time machine costs $10 billion. He's like, $30 billion then. He's like, oh, okay. Wait, 30 plus the 10 from the time machine. How much is that? He's like, 80 billion.
80 billion.
$80 billion. He's like, oh yeah,
I like money. Yeah, he just kept repeating, I like money. Man, where do they go from here? They end up finding Rita.
Yep, they find Rita when they're leaving to go to the time machine, and then one of the scam things pick up on his wrist. Oh no, they come right around the time they get to his apartment. They get to Frito's apartment. The police do, looking for him. So they escape, get in the car and drive, and then they see her. They see her, grab her, throw her in the car. They're driving away. The cops are on them, and she's like, "You just picked me up, and the cops are after you."
Yeah.
And, in the meantime, she's been scamming this one poor guy.
Yeah.
Who's just trying to get laid, and she's just like, "Yo, I charge by the hour." She's like, "I'll make you wait for it, like 3 days." He's like, "All right, then." He's like, "All right, then." She's like, "But you're on the clock, you know." He's like, "I got you." So he starts paying her money, and then like it's like assumed like every day he comes back, and she keeps like delaying it, and he keeps giving her more money.
Yeah.
And then she hops in the car, and then they figure it out. And they wind up going on their way to Costco. One of the machines pick him up again, and then shut the car down. And then he jumps out of the car. They all get out of the car, and then the cops show up and start shooting the car.
Yeah, they obliterate this car. One cop has a missile launcher, and he shoots it backwards into the air, and then it downs a plane that's flying by. Other like civilians get involved and also start like destroying the car and starting a riot with the cops. And then the cops just start shooting guns into the air, and everybody's just having like a party. I have no idea. Man, this is. I mean, I guess you do what you gotta do for the sake of entertainment when your IQ is a single-digit number. How do they end up? How do they end up at the White House?
Because he gets caught trying to get on the shuttle because he's waiting.
When they get into Costco, we find out that Frito got his law degree in Costco, and Costco has just become like basically like the equivalency of the size of like a couple of city blocks, or longer, or bigger, and it just has like everything in there. And then that's when we find out Starbucks is
is like a prostitution thing.
It's just like it's just like a brothel.
Yeah.
And all their coffee drinks are like just like vague references to
like a latte is a hand job or something.
And that's pretty much that.
But there's a shuttle in Costco to the time machine, so that's why they were going.
Yes, they were going there, and then she had to go to the bathroom. The girl had to go to the bathroom, so they were waiting, and then the cops came, so they jumped in the shuttle, and they were thinking about it like, all right, forget it. Let's just go. I'll go back in time and make sure she's not. And they have the whole like time travel paradox.
Right.
So he's like, I'll go back in time, and if I go back in time and tell her not to be an experiment, she won't be here. So it doesn't matter if she's in the bathroom. And he's like, but wait, her being here now, does that mean I didn't do it, or does it mean I just haven't done it yet?
Yeah.
And they had the whole conversation about that, and then it just builds from there.
Yeah, and then Frito gets so like, I can't think anymore, puts his hands up, and the shuttle doors close, and he takes off while the cops grab what's his face.
And then from there they bring him to the White House. Oh yeah, well, because doesn't he explain like, oh, because if you bring me back to jail, I'm just gonna escape again or some shit?
No, it's because he got the smartest test ever on the aptitude test. With
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right, because he could put the square block in the square hole.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. I want to live in 500 years in the future. Although there's no guarantee that I'd try to make the square block fit in the circle hole, I think. I would force it. Anyway, he gets to the White House. Who are some of the people? I know David Herman is one of them. I recognize the big guy or the bigger guy, but he was the only other person I recognized. I don't remember his name.
Oh, for the council.
Yeah, I think he was the Secretary of Defense. I know David Herman was the Secretary of State. I have no idea who the other two people were, or the other three people were.
There was the kid that was the Secretary of Energy because he won a contest.
Yep.
And then there was the lady who was the Secretary of State, I think?
No, David Herman's the Secretary of State. Yeah, I don't remember who the lady was.
Yeah, David Herman, Secretary of State, obviously. And to answer your question, he was the voice of Larry and Scruffy and all those guys in Futurama. This movie is very much perfect humor. I can describe this movie very much like Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes, just a lot more offensive, I feel.
Yeah. Dude, Where's My Car came out in 2000, I think. Jesus Christ. I feel old now. I remember that movie when it came out. I feel old.
I will say, if anybody listening is offended by the word retard, probably don't want to watch this movie. They say it a lot.
A lot. They say that a lot. They say a couple other words a lot.
They say faggy a lot. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. Thrown out there quite a lot.
This movie is not for people who have...
Yeah, you had Brendan Hart, or Brendan Hill.
Fragile.
Who's the Secretary of Energy. What else has he been in? He stopped acting in 2010. He's only 4 years older than me. Which means in 2006 he was... He was 12? I think in that movie?
Oh, I have no idea.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the energy kid there?
He was 18. All right, he just did not look. He was 18. Math was hard for a second. He was in Dude, Where's My Car too. He was the kid with the bat in Dude, Where's My Car. Okay. But that's really his major film credits was that and that. He hasn't really. Oh, he was in Max Keebler's Big Move from back in 2001. Max Keeble.
Well,
that was anyway.
Anyway, the secretaries aren't the important part here. Although they are pretty much, they brought Luke Wilson's character Joe here to make him a secretary. I fucking forget. Secretary of
the Interior.
Of the Interior. Whatever the fuck that is. But the important part here is President Camacho. Okay. El Presidente Camacho, played by Terry Crews.
What's his full name? They said his full name in the movie. I'm trying to see what his full name was. It was President...
Something Big Mac, I believe. Camacho. I think Big Mac was in there.
He's like getting announced at the House of Representatives. He's apparently in the future he
was like an ex-wrestler.
Ex-wrestler, a porn star. Yeah. Which is hilarious. But, Idiocracy. I mean, which, to be fair, depending on how you look at it, ex-wrestler and porn star, so was Donald Trump. I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
Donald Trump was a porn star?
I mean, he did have a porn tape that became a famous tape. So, I mean, you could argue and say.
Never heard of it.
So,
I can't fucking find this guy's full name.
yeah. Oh,
It is something ridiculous, though. President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho.
There you go.
He's the supporting protagonist in the film Idiocracy. So yeah, he makes Luke Wilson the smartest guy in the world, his Secretary of the Interior, and then tells pretty much the whole Senate, like, yeah, hey, I got this guy, he's super smart, he's gonna fix all of our fucking problems, and he's gonna do it in a week, or else he's gonna pretty much die. That's all.
He like goes, he like goes off on a tangent, and every promise you see like Luke Wilson like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's like he's gonna solve the Dust Bowl problem. He's gonna solve the crop problem.
First he's like, I got a 3-step plan, and he's like shaking his head like, yeah, 3-step plan. Step 1, and then he goes like, I mean, step 1, step 2, and step 3. What's his name? Fucking.
Not sure.
Not sure. Not sure is gonna do. Not sure this guy right here. Not sure is gonna solve all our problems. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He stops like, wait, what? And then it keeps going. And he's gonna solve our problems, like the dust bowls, why the crops don't want to grow, the economy.
Yeah, the economy. Yeah, the economy.
The economy and all that.
And he's gonna do it in a week.
And then every time he adds a thing and looks at him, and he's just looking around like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then he gets in a week, and he's like, And he's like, and if he doesn't, I think he's gonna kill him. I think it was back to jail for him.
Yeah, back to prison.
Yeah. So yeah. Then from there. I mean, I think he gets fake started on fixing the problems, because I think his real intent is still trying to get to this time machine. But then he does, when he's out there talking, I think they end up getting Rita, and everybody makes like these sex jokes about her. He ends up figuring out that one of the problems, at least with the crops, and why they're not growing, is because they go out and they have like this big field. It's just a barren ass field, and they have a bunch of like a sprinkler system, an irrigation sprinkling system out there, and then it starts sprinkling Gatorade. And we find out like this guy who owns the Gatorade company or whatever. It's called something else. It's called like Monster something or other or whatever, or Mega something or other. Literally bought out like the FDA and all these government buildings.
Yeah, he bought out all the stuff that regulates like the quality of food and shit that we're supposed to be eating.
Right. Just so he could get away with doing whatever he wanted. And then he essentially got rid of water. Again, I'm assuming it had to have just been the trash, but nobody brought up the fact that it doesn't rain, I don't think.
No.
But Luke Wilson ends up saying, hey, listen, if we just give this thing some water, it'll grow, that because plants need water. And he kept trying to explain this to everybody. And then the narrator's like, and after hours and hours of not getting anywhere, he finally decided to tell the other secretaries that he could speak with plants and the plants wanted water. And that's how he convinced them that they should give the plants water. They also expected it to grow like instantly, which isn't a thing. And then let's see what else happened. I think they skipped right to the point where it's like where the plants didn't grow, so they were going to try to then that's where they find out that the stock market on the fucking Mega Gatorade whatever company fucking plummeted because of this water thing now. And a bunch of people lost their jobs, so they were all like complaining and bitching at Not Sure. And so the president said that he had to go and get what the hell's the word, the R word that they used for like the monster truck rally thing. Rehabilitation. Like they found him guilty of not being able to grow crops in a day or some bullshit, and they sentenced him to 1 day of rehabilitation, which Luke Wilson's like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. And then you find out that it's like a big event, and correction officers go in and like murder people.
Yeah, it's like a big monster truck thing where they try to crush you.
Yeah. And then Rita ends up finding that, she sees one of the seedlings or whatever, and she finds out that the water is making the plants grow. It just needed time. And so she gets Dax Shepard's character to like bring her to the monster truck rally place. And then like they devise like this big plan to have them put it up on the cameras. That kind of goes sideways, but eventually ends up happening. And then President Camacho gives Not Sure a full presidential pardon because he did make the plants grow, and that was his promise. And then I think that's where Joe and Rita had the conversation. Rita said she was going to stay, but Joe said he was going to go back. And then they found out that the time machine was just a carnival ride called the Time Machine. And Dax Shepard's like, you thought you could really travel back in time, huh? He's like, yeah. He's like, for the smartest guy in the world, you're pretty dumb sometimes. So, yeah, Joe ends up becoming president, ends up marrying Rita. Rita becomes first lady, and he is dubbed pretty much the smartest man in the world, and they have the smartest babies, and President Camacho has the dumbest. And that's pretty much the movie. Insert a lot of fart jokes and whatever throughout, but that's pretty much the gist of the movie. Yep. Did you ever say he never solved like the trash problem though, huh?
No, not that we heard on the camera or anything. He possibly may have.
Man, I would have loved to see how he dealt with that. Anyway, so that's that for the movie. And then I know I had a question that I was going to pose to you guys, and Rob, you kind of answered it yesterday. But if you had the option of being, say, frozen and waking up 500 years in the future and being the smartest person in the world at the intelligence level that you're at currently, I mean, would you want to be? Let's start with Rob.
I already answered it. No.
Well, yeah, but you didn't answer it on the podcast, so.
No, I would not want that at all.
Now, why not?
It's hard enough to deal with idiots in our current timeline, and to have everybody be an idiot and having to constantly explain how things work to everybody would drive me nuts. And mainly because all the video games at that time would be like dumb and stupid, and I'd get bored super quick. Like, no one would play D&D because they'd be like, what the hell is that? I don't understand. You roll a thing? What is this, a rock? It's like, oh my god.
But then again, you could invent that game. People could
No one would understand how to play it.
Yeah, but if you did get the ball rolling and get people to understand it, then you could make bank.
20 years. I don't want to have to be teaching people how to do stuff forever. So no.
See, that's the thing, is you got to delegate. You got to teach one person how to do something so they're good, and then have them teach other people.
I don't even want to teach one person. I am selfish with my time.
Devin, would you want to ever live in a time where you are literally the smartest person in the world? I hear crickets. Devin's gone. He's already traveled to the future.
I mean, besides the fact that I already am, but no, seriously.
Oh! You heard it here first. Devin's the smartest man in the world.
I don't know. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no, because I think it'd be like, I don't know. It could be interesting. But
see, I think I'm in the same boat. I'm like half and half, and like the half of me that says no is kind of in agreement with Rob, and that's. I think it'd be cool to be the smartest person ever, like in the world. But at the same time, I do not have the patience to deal with that many dumb people. So, I don't know. Yeah, god damn it. I'm going to have to go with Rob just because I feel like if I did, I would be on a nonstop anger train and just bloody. I'd be a serial killer in the future. I'd be systematically just trying to take out everybody.
You could be a serial killer in the future, and no one would ever really catch you because they're all too stupid to catch you.
True.
Yeah, I mean, there is that if you wanted to be a serial killer. Definitely the best time. But, I don't know. That's like they always say, like, if you...
I mean, to be fair, if you do get caught, you can just be like, yo, hey, I was supposed to get out of prison today.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, shit, our bad, dude. We didn't realize.
That's the thing that they always say or whatever about if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room with smart people.
Yeah, because I mean, eventually too, you know that being around that many dumb people is going to wear off on you, and you're just going to slowly get dumber. I feel because you have no one there to challenge your intellect and to have like intelligent conversation with. So after a while, you're just going to start talking dumb because you're surrounded by people who talk dumb. I don't know. It's interesting. Now, okay, let me ask you this. Would your answers change if it was us three traveling to the future together and we all got to keep our intellect? So then you're not necessarily alone.
Maybe? I mean, it would be better.
I will say this, you guys would have a hell of a time trying to keep me from fucking bludgeoning people to death. I don't know. I can't deal with some people's stupidity nowadays, and that's not even that level of stupidity. So, but, alright. Closing thoughts on this movie? Rob, do you have any?
I mean, it was fun to watch.
Did you find it overly offensive?
No.
No. Do you think?
I mean, I knew what kind of humor it was going to be going in. If you're not prepared, you might be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, that's true. Was this your first time seeing it, or had you seen it before?
No, I've never seen it before.
Oh. Would you recommend it to other people?
To certain people, yeah.
All right. And what do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll give it 6. A high 6.
All right. I dig it. Do you think it could be remade today?
No.
All right. Fair point. Devin, closing thoughts on this movie, if any?
Okay, I had to mute button by accident. No, I think it's one of those movies where if it's your kind of humor, I think you'll definitely find it funny. If it's not your kind of humor, you're not gonna get a lot out of it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it. I recommend if it's your kind of humor. I recommend it completely. I don't think it can be made again today though. But or if it did, it wouldn't be the same movie. But yeah,
on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I mean, for what it is, I mean, I'd give it like a 6.5 for what it is.
All right.
Like a 6.5.
I too recommend this movie. Honestly, don't really care what kind of humor you're into. I think you should see the movie. and then you could tell for yourself if you liked it or not. Obviously, not everyone's going to appreciate the movie and or like it. I too don't feel like it could be remade. Sadly, personally, I do think that we should take movies like this and Blazing Saddles. Like, I will always go back to using Blazing Saddles as my prime example. I think that movie should be remade in the same exact context and style that it was made originally. If for no other reason to just kind of give a shock to our social atmosphere today. Like, for all the people who would find it offensive, it's like, come on, it's a fucking movie. It's made for entertainment. Like, if you don't like it, then just don't watch it again. But I don't know. I hate people. That being said, I think I'm gonna give it like a 6.5, a high 6, mid to high 6. So I think we're all pretty much on board with that. What did IMDb give it? IMDb gave it a 6.6 out of 10. So yeah, we're pretty much right on there with IMDb. Devin, what was your idea? You had an idea. I feel like the idea that just popped in my head was the same thing, but having a game or something where we pick movies that we have seen and we try to give it a rating and guess as to what IMDb would have rated it.
Like other movies that we've done in SU, we reviewed before, or just movies that we know we've seen, and just like each pick like 5 movies that we know the other 2 people have seen before. Like maybe make a list, like give like a list of 10 movies and be like, hey, out of these 10 movies, have you seen these 5? What's your rating on the movie? Just kind of like knee jerk, like what you remember from it, what's your rating on the movie, and just see like how off we are from IMDb.
All right. I mean, that's something that we could also even do off the air, is sit on a call with each other at some point and make these lists and what we would rate them. So then on air, we can go through and like, my list for you guys, I could pull up on IMDb and pretty much go through each movie and say, well, you guys both rated this around a 7. IMDb gave it a fucking 3. This, that, and the other thing. And we could talk about it that way, too. So that way we're not, causing dead air trying to come up with the lists on...
Well, I meant like we had the list like pre-episode.
Yeah, that's why I said we could all get on a call and make these lists together at some point. I like that idea. Because I like when I look at a movie on IMDb and it's like, oh, I would give it like this, and then see what the difference is based off of what other people have voted for it.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, with that being said, there's no other talks about this movie. That was Idiocracy, starring Luke Wilson, amongst others. Maya Rudolph, Maya. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I think it's Maya Rudolph, Maya. Dax Shepard, Terry Crews, amongst others. Do we have a science corner with Rob this week?
You would think I would have prepared something, but you just caught me by surprise. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need a science corner. I don't think if there's anything I read this week.
Can lava melt rocks?
Lava is melted rocks.
So the answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So then how come lava just doesn't eventually melt through all of the rock and the whole Earth is just lava?
Because by the time it comes up, it starts to cool. So it turns back into rock. Like, it's hot enough to melt rock when it's far down inside the mountain, but by the time it gets to the top, it's starting to cool off. So
but I'm saying, like, how come the
the
interior of the Earth isn't slowly melting away into becoming more and more lava?
You mean like why isn't the crust more lava?
Yeah.
Because as you get to the surface of the Earth, it's just too cool for the lava to melt the rock anymore.
Huh.
The reasons why it comes out of volcanoes is because volcanoes punch through the different layers of the Earth way down to where it is molten, and it kind of just spews out before it returns back to solid. But it's not like as it gets closer to the surface, it's not hot enough to melt rock anymore. So as it gets closer and closer to the surface, unless you've got like an opening further in, like a volcano is, it's just not hot enough as it gets further out. But the middle of the Earth is just molten rock spinning around, rock and metal. So.
All right. Well, that was my science question corner, or science corner question. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Not really.
All right. Be better prepared next week.
Okay.
You were what's the word I'm looking for? Pampered, I guess, by having listeners ask questions for like 5 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave you something to look up for these things. Now the listeners stop asking questions.
Well, this is true.
He was mollywopped.
Yep. Devin, we need life advice with Devin.
Life advice with Devin! I was not prepared.
God, what's with you guys not being prepared today? I got a life advice.
I'm a prima donna diva, and that's my problem. What's your life advice?
My life advice is never masturbate using super glue as lube.
That's solid life advice.
How's that for life advice?
Solid.
All right. Well, with that being said, Rob, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Professor_X, and soon on Twitch because I'm now wired in and I can do it at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
Don't worry. The wire that he's talking about into the modem is right next to my computer, so if he starts getting too mouthy on these Twitch streams, I can just unplug him. That'll throw everything for a loop.
Cool.
Devin, where can people find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMP_Pookie, and you find me on Twitch at Poo Killed Me.
And on eBay? Or are you not
on
eBay this week?
I'm not really on eBay this week, but I'll be on eBay for you this week, Webby. That makes sense.
All right.
I'm on eBay looking for webs.
All right. And as always, everybody, you can follow me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker, all one word, on Twitch at DMWebby, and on eBay at Selling Superglue to Idiots as Lube.
Oh, shit.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We love you, and fuck Booster Gold.
Also, fuck Alcatraz.
Yeah, fuck Alcatraz. At least the last boss. Ba-da-da-bow. Ba-da-da-bow. Ba-da.